Hey all, welcome back to Grand Mountain Adventure Wonderlands. And Zedek with me again is Blank Tester.
Hey kids, how's it going?
And in this, we're headed into Rotkamm.
Is this one also an exclusive, or is this...
No, this one's there in the mobile. I'll again, point out specifically when the other exclusive level is.
It's interesting they put the exclusive one, or one of the exclusive ones is kind of in the middle.
Yeah, and also the other exclusive one is not, like, the last.
Okay, well.
It's interesting, but now we're in Switzerland.
That's cool. That's where a lot of interesting things happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying. Did it say landing tricks give you a slight speed boost?
Yes.
Oh.
So that's the other way to get speed boost. It's more reliable to just like punch people because again tricks in this game are like a full like 360 or front flip, back flip,
Right.
barrel roll. Like you're not just doing a quick grab. It's something you kind of have to commit to. But that is helpful.
Yeah.
Tourists often
Oberdorfer
take the
fondue.
train here to enjoy the original Oberdorfer fondue.
Wow. Have you ever had fondue? I've never actually had cheese fondue.
I don't think
Or
so,
chocolate
or
fondue.
at least like not in a long time.
Yeah, you had it for your birthday one year, and how was it?
I just don't remember.
I don't know. Man, they're really taking these kids out. Oh, I didn't even realize why the trees become colorful but you're knocking the snow off the trees. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun and funny little detail.
Yeah. I wish you could make the you could knock the snow off the people.
Damn.
Punch them and then they turn, I don't know, a different color.
Yeah. Yo, you look covered in snow. Whoopsh.
Yeah.
It's
there
like,
you go.
thanks, man. All that snow buildup. I was getting cold.
Yeah, well, now you're
Colder.
getting dead.
Whoa. Sometimes the people do, like, stay on the ground and then you see little ZZZ above their head.
Yeah, well.
So you are at least knocking them down hard enough for them to go to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's not how being knocked unconscious works. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm wrong on this, but like it feels like there are some pretty severe misconceptions about how being knocked unconscious works that have been perpetuated almost exclusively by movies and video games. Right?
Oh yeah, it's
But
just one of those things you just like accept.
Right, but like what I'm thinking is like I think there are probably a lot more people today who don't get how bad it is to be knocked unconscious by being bashed over the head. More people because of movies and video games than like say 100 years ago. I think 100 years ago people basically understood that when you get hit over the head hard enough to fall unconscious, that's gonna cause serious brain damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's totally true, and I don't think you'd find anyone who like opposes you when you say that. But like, you don't see any, I don't know, public PSA or PR efforts trying to fix the problem because it's not like there are people out there, where
knocking
it's like
each other out like
serially, knocking other people out.
Yeah.
I mean, not just knocking
I guess
each other out.
maybe
That's
more
like
people are
backyard
consciously.
wrestling, but
I mean, like
maybe
maybe people are more conscious of it than I think. But like, I feel like the general vibe is that it's not that big a deal to get knocked over the head and knocked unconscious. In the same way that like some people don't.
Right, I mean,
most people probably don't realize. I think most people don't realize that like if you get chloroformed, there's no way for you to get chloroformed to the point where you fall unconscious without experiencing extreme brain damage.
Yeah, isn't it like getting chloroformed to fall unconscious takes like minutes? And
Yeah.
not just like
Not like a
someone
whiff and then
puts
you're
a rag
unconscious,
in front of
yeah.
your head and you're like down before they even drag you back into the shadows.
Yeah, it's not a simple process, and it results in severe damage to your brain, so, I don't know, I think...
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can go even back to, like, cartoons or so, like, really early cartoons, it's just bam, bam, gonna bonk someone over the head, and they, like, little birdies fly above them, and...
Yeah, because, like, that was a sort of a euphemism for that sort of concussion, but at the same time, I think it kind of retroactively turned into the way we think about getting bonked on the head.
There's some interesting things there. Like, I've heard, and I obviously don't watch, like, cartoons nowadays, but I've heard that, there were things that were kind of quite, maybe not ubiquitous, but showed up pretty often in cartoons for, like, a little run there that almost feels like it was some, like, high-up executive who kept saying to put them
pushing
in, like,
stuff?
Like quicksand.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. We can think of cartoons that we watched as kids, or even earlier, where, like, someone would get stuck in quicksand and have to be, like, saved.
Yeah. Quicksand was, like, a huge thing.
That, like, that doesn't really happen anymore. It's like the quicksand guy.
Yeah, the guy who's really into quicksand is done. Yeah. It became like a played-out trope. And it's weird because, like, quicksand, it's not like this very, very common thing. For most of the audience of... But maybe that's the point, right? Like, I mean, like, that's what makes it sort of scary. It doesn't happen in real life.
Right, but it was just this... people. I don't know, it just felt like this repeated effort of, like...
Watch out for
teach
quicksand.
Kids to watch out for quicksand, even though unless you live next to La Brea, you're not going to run into it,
Yeah. And even if you do run into it, it's not... I mean, well, I guess there are things you can do to make your quicksand situation worse, but, I mean... Well, I don't know. I guess it may not be completely obvious how to get out of quicksand, so... But, like... I've never even seen quicksand.
But again, it's just overall that it showed up.
Yeah, that it showed up at all.
Often. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
That's the one, like, main example I can think of, but, like, people had pointed out other...
Like, yeah, cartoons make you think quicksand is going to be a lot bigger problem when you're an adult than it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of those cartoons are... It's weird. I was rewatching Courage the Cowardly Dog, and some of Courage is pretty dark.
Oh yeah.
But like, I mean, when I was a kid, it was my favorite show. I really loved Courage, and like, I don't know. It's just sometimes they say stuff like, "Well, you can't make a show like that these days," and I'm like, yeah, you pretty much can. I mean, they do. Like, the reason that we don't see that kind of television anymore is because we don't watch cartoons anymore. Like you and I.
Yeah.
We're, right? So like, it's like, it would be weird for me to be like, they don't make video games like blank anymore if I stopped playing video games.
Right.
So, like, why are people complaining? Like, I don't know. I mean, like, sure, there are some shows that, like, that people like to complain about. Like, a common one that, for a while, that people used to complain about a lot was Teen Titans Go. Right? They'd be like, oh, Teen Titans Go is horrible because Teen Titans was such a cool show, and now Teen Titans Go is ruining it. And it's like, I mean, in the age of streaming, people can still watch Teen Titans.
Then again, in this age of streaming,
yeah. Well, right, for now you can, right? Until Discovery decides to take it off HBO Max or whatever they call it now. But, like, when they were complaining about Teen Titans Go, when that was, like, the hot thing to complain about. These days, people don't really care anymore. But, like, Teen Titans Go is just for a different audience, and that's fine. Like, you can just have both. And I don't know.
No, my version should be getting new episodes and not their version.
Yeah, I guess that's it, right? And then, if you go back and watch it, the show is maybe a little too serious. Like, I don't know. That one and Batman the Animated Series.
Teen Titans felt
very serious shows.
Teen Titans felt like one of those shows where, like, the reruns would just be the same part of it over and over and over again.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Like, there were so many episodes that I saw, like, once, ever. And then, like, a bunch of episodes that I saw, like, a dozen times. And I'm like, how come I only ever see the same episodes over and over?
Yeah, like, it was supposed to be serial. You know, like, that character Tara was introduced.
She had, like, a whole arc in, like, season 2 or whatever, and then, like...
It always seemed like they just reran season 1 over and over and over.
Yeah, and then, like, there was that whole arc with, like, Robin working with Slade for a while, and, like, there were multiple episodes there, I think, and it felt like we only ever saw, like, one of those episodes just replaying, and there were so many shows that did that, right? Like, I mean, I feel like that happened a lot with other cartoon shows.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked, like, this isn't necessarily cartoon the same way, but I've talked about how, like, Cartoon Network or Toonami or whatever would only run season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Over and over and over again.
Yeah, and it's like, there was other stuff to see. I would like to see that other stuff. Like, I got it, you know?
Like I just vaguely, through distilled knowledge, know about what happens in the later seasons of, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! The original, but I never saw those, because it's like, well, you defeated Pegasus, back to episode 1.
Yeah, I remember Battle City, and even then there were, like, there was a whole arc of the show that was, like, they're battling on a blimp, a battle blimp, I guess.
Yeah.
And there's a part where they have to make a map by... Oh, is that how you get up there? Is that the intended way?
Yeah. So there's a secret collectible and a, you know, challenge that you can only access by, like, doing that and then figuring out the getting up slopes.
What the fuck? So you just gotta wiggle.
Yeah, just gotta wiggle. But again, the game is pretty sticky. It's very rare that you're suddenly going to be going backwards. So, just work at it.
Well, anyway. Yeah, I remember that in Yu-Gi-Oh! That we would see a lot of this first season, and then we would see some of Battle City. Now, obviously, we're dating ourselves here a little bit, right? So, maybe these days everyone's like, what are you talking about? All they play is reruns of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Or, I mean... wasn't 5Ds the one on motorcycles?
Dude, that was seasons ago. They've moved way on past
that.
Yeah. I don't even know what they're on now, but
Well, that's why I said reruns of it, right? But
right.
Yeah, I was about to say Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but I'm pretty sure GX was immediately after the original.
Yeah, that was the second one.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm really, really behind.
I mean, do you want to be up to date on Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't.
I guess I don't care.
Dude, I mean, we talked in that one, like, SSX 2012 video about me kind of catching back up to how the card game works after not playing since, you know, way back in the day.
Like
and
middle school or something, yeah.
Nothing made sense and everything was a fabrication, so...
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got
happy
all
just
kinds of new
watching
mechanics.
the dual logs do his videos, and that's it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like when you step out of Destiny for a while, and then you come back, and it's like, oh, they've completely removed this whole system, and...
Right.
Changed all these things. Okay, well, you know, whatever. I don't know. I think some people complain about big system changes like that, but I don't really care.
Yeah, and I mean, like, back to, like, oh, we're dating ourselves, like, it's just inevitable. We get older, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way for you to just turn a dial on your watch and become 10 again.
Yeah. You know, and, like, the first time you're playing through something, or the first time you're experiencing something, is often the best time that you experience it when it's something really good. So, like, I don't know. It's...
Dude, sorry, on that topic, I wonder if, like... I don't know. I feel like playing these newer games, this is going to be so weird to try to explain, but I feel like I'm almost trying to force that feeling. Like,
I know what you mean.
This is my first time playing something, so this should be magical and
I know what you mean.
Not emotional, but cause more greater interest in me. And then when, just like if I log on to Destiny 2 for the 800th hour or something, just like that, if I am getting tired 2 hours in and I want to stop and just go like lay down, it hurts more than when I've logged on to play my 800-second hour.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I've found, because I'm older and because I've got less time to play video games and, less time to really, like, absorb myself into it, I find it's actually easier for me to, like, get into things or watch things or enjoy things for the first time if they're, like, non-interactive. It's just easier for me to enjoy things like movies and TV shows the first time through. But that's why I've been specifically, like, I thought I was one of those people who could still enjoy stuff with spoilers, but I found that I enjoy things a lot more if I don't have any spoilers going in. So, like, even if I don't necessarily, like, if I know roughly what genre the thing is, even that can be kind of a spoiler for me at times. Like, I would prefer to know the title and how much time I'm about to invest, and then nothing else. Because then everything is a real surprise, especially if you don't know any of the actors in the thing, you don't recognize the director or whatever, like, you're not familiar with their style. It's a lot more enjoyable to me because it's like, I get that sort of fresh feeling, but of course, that's also with movies, right? So, like, with a movie, you watch it and then you're done, and you can go back and rewatch the movie, but it's not like 15 hours in, right? It's only like
and it's like
maybe 3 hours in total.
It's like with the games, especially games for this series. It's like I made it through the major, series like Tony Hawk and SSX and Skate, and then I even made it through the major ones that I knew I did not get to, like Amped 3 or Shaun White. So now it really is like I can kind of play like whatever I just have not played yet or know about. And so that's where it's kind of like, I'm going to be playing this thing for the first time, and it's like, please be something that I want to continue playing and then show off, because that kind of makes me set for like a month or two. Again, Steep not really gelling with me on this first time through kind of sucks, because that's sort of one of the last big names left. Whereas it's like, okay, I've never played Wave Break, but I own it. Do I want to play that? I've never played this. I don't know. We're talking about the same thing.
I mean, I feel like I get the urge to try to manufacture that sort of magical feeling of like, holy shit, this is awesome, but like,
or at least enjoyable enough to want to like keep playing and then play through a second time.
I think now that we're older, we're not allowed to have that experience anymore, and like, it sucks. But what would be better would be like trying to capture our nostalgia or retune where we get that feeling to be from something more akin to our abilities and our taste these days. Like, back in the day, I would not have had that feeling listening to an album. But nowadays, I can appreciate music a little bit better than I did when I was younger. And so, like, a really good album listened through for the front to back can actually have like a feel, like I can engender a sort of pleasant feeling that I get nostalgia for later. It wasn't the case for me before. And like, that's just because I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago. The guy I was 10 years ago has had 10 years less experience than me, and liked some of the same stuff I like, and disliked some stuff that I like now. And that's fine, right? Like, I'm just a different person.
That album thing makes sense. Like, I probably do listen to more, just random stuff because I want to hear it than I did before. Before I was pretty selective, because it's like, I'm going to listen to this while, like, walking to class or walking back. That, you know, now it's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm still not as good about like experiencing new things as I wish I was. I'm more averse to seeing and hearing new things than I really should be.
Right. Oh my god. I mean, like, I'm the ultimate example of that. I eat the same. It's not like I eat only chicken fingers. I know there's people out there who are very picky. I'm not that picky, but like, I've ordered from the same restaurants, you know, over and over and over and over.
Yeah, and so like, you know, it's like it's still difficult for me to get out of my comfort zone. Sometimes that's actually kind of part of why I enjoy being married, because my wife has different tastes than me, and so, you know, a lot of times she'll be like, hey, you want to watch this? And I'm like, no, I'm not in the mood. But like, really, inside while I'm saying that, I'm knowing to myself, like, you know, I should just give it a chance. I should just watch the thing. Both because it'll make her happy, and because I just don't experience enough new stuff, you know? And like, unfortunately, part of the problem as well is that, like, because I go back and like rewatch the same videos on YouTube or the same channels, you know, I'll get on a kick for one YouTuber and watch all of this person's stuff, and then I'll watch it all over again a couple more times, and then YouTube's like, aha, he doesn't want to see anything new, and so like my whole YouTube recommendation will be like all shit I've already seen.
Right. YouTube is either all stuff I've seen before, or like, and I'm sure this probably is a good thing in the long run, but advertising like channels I've never heard of with recent streams that have less than 10 views and they have less than 10 subscribers, and it's like, I get that you are trying to push new things onto me, but I never want to watch those.
Yeah, and I'm like, sometimes I look at those off to the side and I think to myself, golly, they really don't know what I want from YouTube. But like, other times I'm like, I can see why that would appeal to my taste. I'm just not in the mood right now. The weird thing is, YouTube switches back and forth for me between like, you know, these are all the things you've already seen. Right,
between literally, there's a red bar at the bottom because I've seen it to its end.
Or it'll be like some really obscure channel, and then like, just like 5% of the time, every once in a while, it'll start littering my recommendations with a ton of alt-right content. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, what? Why are you doing this, YouTube? I don't know. Stop trying to radicalize me.
At least I don't seem to get that.
And like, every time it happens, I'm like, do not show channel, do not recommend channel, and then it'll stop for a little while, and then like a couple months later, there'll be like a week where like, they'll be like, hey, you want to watch this new channel from Joe Rogan? And I'm like, no, I said no. Yeah. You know? And I'm, by the way, just to cut it off at the pass, I know there will be people who say like, Joe Rogan's not alt-right. I get that. I'm saying like, that's what it's reduced to, because he does sometimes interact with those people, and I'm not interested in him either. Right. So, you know, just to cut that off, so the comments,
I'll bring this up, that what you said earlier about like, how you enjoy, you know, being married, because, you know, having to interact with, this is going to sound like such an alien way of saying it, but, you know,
no, I know exactly what you're saying already.
Having to interact with someone that's
bringing in totally unrelated influences.
It was good, and it's like, how much I'm kind of the opposite of that. Like, I do not like really make a lot of friends or go out to activities or such, and every time you have to post a message of like, sorry guys, family drama of this, we're dealing with this, we're, you know, going over this person's house and trying to do something, and there's almost kind of a feeling of like, I'm glad I never have to deal with anything like
it's
that.
It's a lot for me too, sometimes.
But that creates a whole, like, that's life. You know, and I understand that I have basically made my life as, like, small as possible. My world is getting smaller every day.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like,
not good for me, but...
Yeah, I don't know. Humans are social creatures, and, like, I find myself getting involved in things maybe more often than I necessarily like. Oh, good, high score. You can just die in the avalanche now. But like, you know, I get involved with these things more often than I necessarily like to. But it is nice to have a little bit of that kind of weirdness going on, so that I have more to do, more to say. You know, like there was a user in the Steel Donut Discord who I won't name, but I think his name started with a D. Do you remember who I'm talking about? He's no longer in the server. He used to be fairly active. So. Okay. And I think we've talked about this before. What I liked about having him around was that he wouldn't start, like, big brawls in the server or whatever, but he was always starting arguments, and everybody hated him. And so I really liked having him around because it kept things interesting.
No, yeah, I love your stories of when you come across someone.
Yeah, it's great, right? And like, it's fantastic, but in the moment, it's very frustrating. You know, and so like, I don't know. I think it's fun to keep people around who are a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, because sure, I've made my world smaller so that I don't have to get called away, blah blah blah. I always am free or whatever. But then when I'm just like mentally tired but not physically tired, and I just spend like an hour or so just lying there in bed with, not that I'm bored, but there's nothing I want to do.
Yeah,
it's kind of like maybe this could have been avoided if I, did my life a different path or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's just it. Like, your life's not over, right? Like, recently I've been... That's true. But, like, you're not trying to reinvent your whole life right now. And, like, I get that. But, like, I was talking to my mom about like, how my life is going and, like, where I plan on being in, like, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I'm like, I don't think about things that far ahead. Like, 5 years from now, I don't know where I'll be. I'll still be married. But, like, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing at this point. And she pointed out that, like, because she and my dad came to this country after they got through medical school in India, they basically spent their 20s preparing to start American life in their 30s, right? While all this time I've been feeling like, oh, I kind of wasted my 20s going to college but not finishing my degree, and then being depressed and, just wandering around trying to find my way. But, like, I'm 30 now, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, their journey involved going to med school and all that stuff so that they could start American life here in their 30s. And my journey hasn't had me physically moving around a lot, but I did go through a journey, and now my life is starting as a 30-year-old, right? So, like, I look at their lives and I'm like, wow, they have full lives. They got to an age where they could retire if they want, and they're living happy. And, like, when I'm feeling like I can't do that, I think about it and I'm like, well, no, they're basically doing the same thing they did basically what I'm doing right now, which is not being sure what they wanted to do in their 20s, but going to medical school because they had the aptitude and the money to do it. And then when they got here, they made a life for themselves. So basically, it's time for me to start making a life for myself, which might mean going to school about something, or it could be getting a certification, or just getting a better job, or moving to a different place. Like, these are just decisions that I have to make, and I'm already there. So it's like, I kind of felt like I'd failed, but I hadn't really failed, because, like, life hadn't even really started.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, some things to think about. But we'll see you next time on Grand Mountain Adventure Wonderlands.